Indestructible Gaming. Choose your character. Musketshot. Mr. K. Let the review begin.
Hello and welcome to Indestructible Gaming and more. I am Musketshot, and alongside me is my co-host, as always, Mr. K. Mr. K, hello.
Hey, how's it doing? Week 15?
Yeah, nice. So this week we have a interesting game, a game that's not really new, a little bit of an older game, but new to us. So we're going to talk about that. It is called Yume Nikki. So this is a indie,
Japanese.
Yep, Japanese in the indie game. And it was developed by Kikiyama and published by Playism. Playism published titles such as Blocks That Matter, I Am Bread, and Machinarium. Have you played any of those games?
I've heard of Machinarium. I've played I Am Bread.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I would also like to add to the fact that Yume Nikki was originally made in RPG Maker, which is an old application that many people still use today.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
I saw that. Do you know of any games that were made with that you've played?
No, not that I know of.
The initial version of this game was released in 2004 and became pretty much a cult favorite pretty quickly. And then it got released on Steam by Playism in 2018 as sort of a reboot. So I'm not sure how different this one is to the original game. I understand there is some possible differences. Do you know what the differences would be?
Not that I know of, but I'm just going to safely assume that's probably just a port.
Yeah.
They probably just brought it from, instead of you having to download it from RPG Maker itself, you could just download it from Steam to make it easier.
Right.
It makes sense because it looks exactly the same as it would if you just played it normally. Yeah,
because I think the original was something that you either played online or downloaded off a site or something like that, if I remember correctly. So would you like to, that's a little bit about the developers and stuff. Would you like to get into telling us about the plot of the game? Or lack of.
Well, the thing you got to understand about this game is it's one not to win. It's one to experience, one to adventure on your own pace. And Yume Nikki basically takes place as you play as a girl named Yume Nikki, and you go into your dreams and basically just explore them. And some of them may come across as creepy, and some of them may come across as pretty. It's basically how dreams can be random in a way. Now, of course, these aren't random. These are areas that are generated the same each time you go into them. Yume Nikki can be taken as horror, but I would take it more as unsettling. Not so much horror-esque, but maybe a little thriller, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What would you say?
Well, when we talked about it last week at the end of our show of episode 14, you mentioned something that was a horror-based. The impression I had going into the game was that it was going to be more horror-based. And when I started playing it, I was like, this is more of an adventure type game.
Yeah, it has.
But I can understand there's sort of, and I don't want to say horror elements, but I would like
foreboding atmospheres.
Yeah, just weird,
uncomfortable,
weird, maybe just sometimes disturbing type things. Not
kind of like you were in a dream. I mean,
yeah,
vague, and they just kind of throw you in. They don't give you. They give you directions. They tell you how to play it, pretty much. But other than that, they don't really give you much of a story.
No.
They just kind of throw you in. They're like, yeah, just explore your dreams, the usual.
Yeah. Yeah, and you start off in an apartment And the apartment is just, you've got a balcony attached to the apartment. And when you're awake, that's pretty much all you can explore, which there's really not much to it. There is a TV in the room with you in the like living room, bedroom type thing. There's a bed in there. There's a desk. The desk, you can go to the desk to it. That's like a save area, so you can save your game there.
You could also spin on the chair if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can spin around on the chair. In the room, there's a game console attached to the TV, which you can play a game on this console. It's kind of like a game where things drop from the sky and you've got to jump up and catch
it. Yeah,
I played it a couple of times. It was like, okay.
I couldn't catch it.
Onto the real game
for the life of me.
Yeah, onto the real game.
Yeah.
The balcony really doesn't serve any purpose other than to just go out there when you're awake.
It's just something to create atmosphere.
Yeah, the bed is the main. Besides the desk area, is the main part. When you go to the bed and you basically click on the bed, you go to sleep, and that's where you go into a dream state. And you wake up and then go to the door in the room, and that's where you can go to these other worlds, these nexuses or whatever they want to. I think they call them different nexuses or something like that.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, you cannot leave the room when you are awake.
Right.
You can only leave the room when you're asleep.
Yep.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And I tried that when I was awake. I was like, so why can't I leave? And I was like, there's nothing to do here. And then, of course, when you go to the bed and you're like, oh, okay, I got it. But there isn't, like you were mentioning, there is a lack of a plot to this game. And that's why
it kind of leaves it up to the player's interpretation.
Yeah.
Because of what they want to believe it's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to believe anything's going on. Maybe they just want to believe it's just a dream.
Right. Yeah. And I played, when I started playing the game, I was like, okay, so what is the plot of this game? And I had to actually look it up just because I was kind of curious if like there was like if there was a plot or something like that. And it was first thing I read was like, there's really no plot to this game. It's really just, adventure, search around. Yeah. You're in dreamland. You're in a dream world. You're looking for different things. You're experiencing different things. So I was like, okay, fine. All right. Almost. I get it now. So it's kind of different. It's kind of cool. So there's that part of it. The apartment is obviously a main part of the game itself. And you can return to the apartment by pinching your cheek in the game. So if you press a certain button, your character will pinch her cheek and then return back to the bed and wakes up.
This can get you out of, if you were lost in an area, if you hit a dead end, which is completely possible. I've hit those a couple times. It's just a way to escape the dream pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you go into the dream world, you get transported to this nexus. And in the nexus, there's doors. There's the door you come out of, which leads to the apartment. But then there's 12 other doors in kind of like a clockwork fashion. So none of the doors are labeled.
And none of them are locked, so you can just go into whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah. There's no names to any of the doors, so you don't know what any of the names are. We can tell you some of the names, just to give you kind of an idea.
Maybe you can name like 4, I don't know, 3.
Yeah, that's like I'll name some of the stranger ones. There's Statue World and Eyeball World and Puddle World.
They're pretty simplistic names.
Yeah. So basically, what it's named is basically what you're gonna see in there.
Pretty much.
So like Mr. K was saying, you can go into any of these worlds. You just go to the door, enter, and then you can start roaming around. And the purpose of going into these worlds is to find what they call effects, different effects that will help you sometimes in the other worlds get other effects. Sometimes it will help you defeat an enemy. Sometimes it'll help you get out of a situation you're in.
And sometimes just to be there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just to have to be like, okay, this is weird. Like,
and you can emote with these too, with press of the 1, 2, or 3 buttons.
Right. You can change to one of them. So it reminds me of like some of those games where you get a special effect like, oh, play with big head or play with tiny body.
It just adds charm, and it adds to the whole dream thing.
Yeah.
Like, well, one of the ones I got was a traffic light, and all you do is just walk around, and you're just a traffic light. And if you press the one key, it would just change to green, make a sound, and go back to red. And that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's 24 different effects to gather in the game. A couple of them that are really strange. There is one called the severed head, which if you get that effect, you just basically wander around as a severed head on the ground. So, which is kind of strange and disturbing. There's one I wanted to get just to see what it looks like, and I haven't gotten it yet, but there's one called poop hair, which I guess basically your head looks like your top of your head looks like a pile of poop, and there's flies that fly around it. And from what I understand, I guess the flies kind of leave a trail behind, so you can sort of find your way back to wherever you're wandering around it. And so
that's helpful.
Yeah. But the biggest thing I found, that the one that I got early on that I thought was probably the best effect of the ones that I've gotten so far was one that's called the bicycle. And you basically get on a bicycle and you can ride the bicycle all over the world. So you can get to things a lot faster because your character doesn't run or jump or do anything, just walks. So walking in some of these worlds takes a long time.
And some of these worlds can take several different paths you can take. So
yeah, it's tough because the worlds, there's a lot of exploring to do in the worlds, but some of them seem endless.
Yeah, some of them you can just get lost in so easily.
Like one of the things that I read online, people suggested was, write down the different directions you go in a world. So you kind of remember, which direction did I go in and stuff like that. So you kind of have an idea of like what areas you hit. Because there's some of the worlds, it's just a blank screen, maybe it's a black screen and then there's things floating around or something like that. So you don't even know if there's like, a barrier or a wall there. Some of them have barriers or walls. Some have different things. It really depends on the world that you're in.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of things to go searching for within the game, different things. There's enemy within the game. Sometimes you can, depending on if you have certain effects, you can kill the enemy. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes if they get you, they put you in a spot where, you can't get out. And the other way out is either A, use an effect to get out of that area, or B, pinch your cheek and go back to your apartment.
Or die. That's also an option.
Yeah.
It will bring you back to your room. So
yeah.
If you really don't feel like pinching your cheek, you know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's different worlds inside a lot of these worlds. Like I found like other things you can go into, and there'd be like a maze that you got to go through the maze. Now I don't know what you would get in the maze. Maybe there's something in it. Maybe there isn't anything in it. And there's other things you can do in the games and stuff like that. There's different characters sometimes in the game that you can interact with. Sometimes the characters, you can't interact with them at all. They're just there. There's a lot of artwork in this game. A lot of drawings, a lot of like murals and stuff like that, which there's a mural world. But there's a lot of weird artwork and color and stuff like that.
There's a lot of weird visualization from the game.
Yeah.
That can send a little uneasy atmosphere at times.
Yeah. And some of them, I don't know about you, but I thought some of the artwork seemed kind of like a tribal artwork type stuff, something you would see like maybe in like a northern, like a Canadian tribal, like a totem pole type thing or something like that.
If you think about it, we are playing a Japanese game.
Yeah. So
Japanese artwork does tend to look a little, trying not to be offensive here in any way.
No.
It does seem to look out of the normal.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they have a lot of
sometimes it can look uneasy and sometimes they can just look crazy.
Yeah.
And unreal.
Yeah, it depends on what the character is and stuff. I wish there was a little bit more information on some of the artwork in the game and some of the characters that you see floating around. If there's a deeper meaning to the artwork or the characters itself. So, and I guess there are vending machines in the game that you can use. When you kill certain things in the game, you'll get Japanese yen, and you can. I think there's things you can buy at the vending machine, but I don't think they really serve any purpose to the game, from what I understand. I didn't kill any things. I was just really focused on just wandering around and checking out these worlds. The 12 worlds, like I said,
you can just get lost in amazement.
Oh, it's unbelievable how big they are. They're just gigantic worlds.
I think that's a big plus for it, though.
Yeah, like there's one world. I just will say this real quick. There's one world called, I think it's called Dark World, and it's like completely black. It's like pitch black, and you don't know where you're going. You have no idea how big this world is, and if it's as big as some of the other ones, it's gigantic. It's like you don't even know where to go. It's crazy. So it's amazing some of the worlds that you can visit and stuff like that. Did you kind of wish that she could explore a little bit more areas awake, or are you happy with just being a quick room and then jumping into the dream world?
I feel like if there was an outside world, it would kind of defeat the purpose of what they were going for.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have access to the outside world, it makes you want to go into these worlds and it makes you want to adventure them more. Because if you're able to go outside that room and not go back in a bed and sleep, you wouldn't be in the dreams, would you? You'd probably be outside adventuring around.
Yeah,
it'd probably take up more of your time than you being in the dreams and going through them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Was there anything in the game that you thought, I wish they would do this for the character? Like, I kind of wish they had like a running mechanism, because if you didn't find the bicycle, walking seemed to take forever in the world. Like I said, they're so expansive and so big.
As much as I like running, I feel like walking is better for this game because, like I said, this is an adventuring game. You can go at your own pace.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you run, you'd be able to pass by stuff so much easier. And that could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
And now when you're walking, you probably pay more attention to your environment and survey the area.
Yeah.
At a snail's pace, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. Well, definitely the bicycle, like I said, I felt the bicycle was great because it helped me get through some of those areas faster.
No, I'm not saying a running shouldn't exist.
Right.
I'm just saying it'd be better if you just walked, but
yeah,
doing a bicycle is perfectly fine. If they didn't want it to be in the game, it wouldn't be in the game.
Right. Yeah, and the bicycle doesn't always help you either, because there's some worlds where I had to ditch the bicycle and just walk, because there's certain areas where it doesn't work well. You have to sort of kind of go step by step almost in certain areas. So yeah, it's certainly it's definitely a lot different than what I was envisioning before I played the game. That's definitely sure. Now,
I think the music was pretty atmospheric. I think it drawed you into these worlds, and I think it created this foreboding atmosphere. Sometimes it can be pretty music. Sometimes it could be ominous.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a good way it represented Yume Nikki as a whole about being in a dream state.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we experience nightmares and as we experience dreams, so does Yume Nikki.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't look to be afraid, you can probably expect she is in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe she knows that it's a dream.
Yeah.
Interpretation, that's this game's name, pretty much.
Yeah. Now, did you have any idea of how expansive the worlds were before you played this from what you heard in the past in this game?
No. I expected them to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But I was expecting them to be at least big, but not to the point where I had to wake myself up and go back into bed just to go back into the world to check out other things within that world.
Yeah, right.
I was expecting, maybe there's like one or two different paths I can go down.
Yeah.
And then, no, it's just, sometimes it could be just this giant maze. Sometimes this place can go to lead to that place. And then that place could lead to this other place. And sometimes it could just be a big circle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. Anything else that you want to add about the game?
I think the sprite of Yume Nikki is pretty good. She looks like someone that would experience these kinds of dreams.
Mm-hmm.
She looks troubled in a way.
Yeah.
She like I said, that interpretation.
Yeah.
There's a lot there's many people that have theorized about Yume Nikki, about the story. And there is an ending. It's secret.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They say it in the Steam page.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I read on it and I'm like, so there is a secret ending.
Huh.
I don't tell you how to get to it, which is probably the difficult part.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten to it yet. And from the sound of it, I don't think you have either.
No, I haven't. No, definitely not. I was surprised at how many effects I actually got.
I'm still trying to go for it, though. I want to get that.
Yeah. I
see.
Yeah.
And from the sound of it, I don't feel like it's going to be like a definitive ending. I feel like it's going to be an ending that's going to be open.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, open for interpretation.
You're right. Yeah.
But
yeah. I was I could certainly understand why this would be sort of a cult favorite type of game.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a lot of unique elements to it, and the exploration and, like you said, the openness to it and the interpretations that you can make about certain things in the game, or certain things you do or certain things you see. So
if you're one that wants to go for like a weird adventure, one to find out new things you never would think of seeing, this would be a good game to play.
Yeah.
It's very weird, very unique, and Yume Nikki is just a charming game.
Yeah. So do you have like a final score on this one?
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.5.
Okay.
I thought the music was nice and foreboding when it needs to be. The places you went into were very atmospheric. Yume Nikki has a lot of charm as a character with the different effects. She experienced dreams like we do. Like sometimes we have dreams and we don't even understand them. Much like the game, sometimes we might not understand the things that are even happening in the game. Like there was this one time I went down a street in the game and I saw these things floating in the sky staring at me. And as I went back to the road I was at before, it was a completely new area. Just like how a dream could be completely random at times, and you can go from one place to another in an instant without even realizing or thinking about it and just moving forward, just like Yume Nikki does. So I think the developer did a really good job on doing a dream kind of game. A nice representation of human dreams. I think this game is really good, honestly. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I, as a casual gamer, and I found this game to be very fun to play. you don't have to worry about a lot of, different levels or different things you got to do in a storyline. You don't have to worry about all kinds of bosses you got to get past to continue on the storyline. This game is really about exploring and searching for things and finding things and just checking things out. And I think that's, a lot of games that are like this. I kind of enjoy games like that because even though this game, I don't know how it ends or if it really has a major ending. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know if I'll ever get to the end, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of relaxing playing it because you're just wandering around searching for things. And there's nothing really there are characters you can bump into, like we said, that you can fight or kill, or they might put you in some kind of holding thing, but your character doesn't really die or do anything like that. You don't.
There's no jump scares. There's no
right. It's nothing like that. So I think it's just it's a very enjoyable game. I would definitely recommend it if you've never played this game. I would definitely recommend trying it out. It's free on Steam. I don't know if it's always free on Steam, but it's free on Steam right now. And I would. For rating, I would give it an 8.5 as well. I think it's just a fun, enjoyable game to play.
At most, you will probably feel uncomfortable or uneasy.
Yeah.
With the atmosphere at times. It's sometimes creepy, but
right.
Nothing else other than that.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to be scared out of your wits or anything like that, or jump. It's just there's some weird parts in it. Okay. So that's Yume Nikki. We have another game next week. A smaller game, a demo game. Did you want to mention the game, or do you want me to mention it?
So the next game we're going to be reviewing is a game by Health Potion Studios. Like Musketshot said, it's a demo, and it's called Out of Control. And it's a game where essentially it's a platformer, and each time you pass a level, the controls change, which is really interesting. And it's not, usually you do WASD, but sometimes it could change to ODAM, something completely random, something you would be like, how am I supposed to play this?
Yeah.
Which will be really interesting for a platformer when you need to do precise movement.
Right. So this will be one of those games I'll probably lose some more hair playing because I do so well with platformers to begin with, and now have a game that changes the controls, within the game. It's like, oh my God. But this is a Health Potion Studios. We're following them on Twitter. They're following us on Twitter. So it's a new game that they're working on. Again, it's a demo on Steam right now that you can play online on Steam if you'd like to go check it out yourself and play along with us. We figured we'd give it a shot and see what they've got done already on it, and then we'll let you know next week how it is.
Yeah.
So that's all I got, Mr. K. Anything else you got this week?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in. It was nice talking to you guys again. Thanks for listening to all of our other episodes. We highly appreciate it. And we highly appreciate you all listening in.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep in touch with us. If you don't follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter if you're on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, like us, like our page on Facebook. It's on Indestructible Gaming Podcast on Facebook. You can also email us at indestructiblegaming@gmail.com. And then, of course, you can listen to us on all your different download sites that you download podcasts on, from iTunes to iHeartRadio to Spotify and everything else in between. So,
yep.
So there's plenty of ways to get in touch with us if you'd like. Please don't be afraid to send us a message. Maybe recommend a game to us, or maybe you just want to touch base with us and say hello, we'll gladly respond and give you a hello. And if you recommend a game to us and we play it and do a podcast on it, we'll obviously give you a shout out on the podcast and thank you very much for the game. So
with that in mind, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Peace.
Game over.
Hey, it's Mr. K here. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. I hope you enjoyed the episode today. Also, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and iRadio. Anyways, hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.